Hi brewing creators, this is Anna, the director of content production, and welcome to the final installment of Analyzing Editing Styles. To close out the series, I wanted to look at some cooking channels today, and talk about how your goals for your content can influence your editing style. There are some principles that pretty much all cooking channels follow, but depending on your goals for your content, the way that you edit and the way that you pace will be a lot different. We're going to look at clips from two different channels today, and the first is Babish Culinary Universe, which is one of the most popular cooking channels on YouTube and has a couple million subscribers. And we're also going to look at a channel called Al's Kitchen, which has about 50,000 subscribers and is a British chef who cooks Indian curries. So for each channel, we're going to first watch a clip, talk about what they do in the clip, watch another clip, and then talk about what we think their goals for their channel are. Babish is cooking chicken parmesan, while Al is cooking some Indian curry. So let's get right into it, starting with Babish.
Alright, so before we can make chicken parmesan, we must first make a sauce. To make a super basic tomato sauce, we're just going to saute a quarter of a chopped onion for about 3 minutes or until translucent, add a couple cloves of garlic, saute those for about 30 seconds before adding 2 to 3 tablespoons of tomato paste and a shake of red chili flake. Saute those together for about a minute before adding a 28-ounce can of whole San Marzano tomatoes. Stir those in, crush them up, place the whole thing over medium heat and bring it up to a simmer, lowering the heat just enough to maintain a bare bubble.
So what elements did Babish use to make his video? First of all, he obviously has access to pretty high-end production equipment. There's a pretty strong depth of field focus on his camera, and he also has a pretty high-quality voiceover. He also utilizes a couple of different camera angles, one for like close-up on the pan, and one for just kind of a wider shot of the kitchen straight on. In terms of editing, there was a lot of cutting, and there was some of the sped-up time-lapse kind of thing, but overall, he's narrating non-stop over background music to video that he didn't keep the audio for. So let's keep this in mind and watch one more clip.
Meanwhile, over on the countertop, it's time to prep our chicken. I've got 4 large breasts here that I'm going to lay out on some plastic wrap and butterfly, cutting from the rounded side of the breast towards the flat side and opening it up like a book. Then I'm going to lay another sheet of plastic wrap on top of the breasts and pound them out using a meat pounder. You could also use the bottom of a fry pan or your bare fists if you've got issues to work out. Flattening the breasts is going to help them cook more quickly and evenly and give us maximum surface area on which to bread. I'm also just going to hit them with a little bit of kosher salt and freshly ground pepper before setting aside.
So one more thing to take note of is that in every shot, something is happening, something is moving. He basically doesn't use any film where he's pulling something out, preparing to shake the salt on, or getting the meat pounder ready. Every cut has action in it. He's already shaking the salt. He's already pounding the meat. And if you notice, the voiceover doesn't have to match. He shakes the salt and pepper way before he mentions it in the voiceover, but it's okay, our brains can connect it. So overall, what do I think is Babish's goal here? I would say this is cooking for entertainment. In terms of how his videos are put together, planned, and edited, I would say he's trying to show everything while not making it any longer than he has to. I'd also say there's a constant stream of trying to keep the viewer's attention, either through the video track or the audio track. Whenever one might lose the viewer's attention, the other one tries to keep the flow going. The video doesn't spend any time showing extra explanations or adding exact measurements. It's clear that educating the viewer on how to make this is not the number one goal of this video. If I were to say that there's a priority in how this video is edited, it's to not waste the viewer's time. Of course, in the end, when people click on cooking videos, I think they are there to see good food and see how it's made and see every step. So there is no rush to aggressively cut out every single little bit that might be boring, because they are there to see all the steps. But at any rate, there's a clear intention not to let there be a lull in the video. Now we're gonna head over to Al's Kitchen's video and see if you can spot the similarities and differences.
And I've got a small amount of green bell pepper. Just chop off a third of a green bell pepper, dice it up. Now remember, it's a DuPiazza or a DoPiazza, and so I've got 1 large onion, half of it's diced into small pieces, and the other half I literally just quartered, so you add like these onion petals, and we're going to fry them down and soften them and make a nice onion based curry.
So you can already see there's some big differences in how Al does his videos. First of all, he doesn't use a voiceover, he's narrating in real time as he cooks. He's also spending a large amount of time introducing his ingredients and how he prepared them. But at the same time, while Babish didn't list or introduce all the ingredients, Al does do a little bit of a flashback cut to show how he did the onions without spending time chronologically showing every single step. Once again, we see the principle of having multiple camera angles so that we can see the food and we can also see the chef. Alright, with this in mind, let's watch the second clip and think about what Al might have in mind for the goals of his video.
Right, so I've got lots in the pipeline. I'm writing a book. I've got some lovely family curries coming up, so you can do big portions that don't need base gravy. That's going to be coming up in the near future. Right, now let's sling in that green bell pepper. Right, I didn't fry this with the onions because I want it to have just a little bit of crunch. I don't want it to be too soft. I don't want it to dissolve.
Yeah, so compared to Babish, obviously Al's production value is not as high. I'm pretty sure he's filming his second angle with a smartphone, but production value doesn't need to be high in order to make an engaging video. Obviously Al is more conversational and he's talking about his book that's coming out, and he's not making any attempt to make the video as short as possible. Compared to Babish's video, which was made to show you the food, how to make it, and get out, Al is there to kind of have a conversation with you, have a good time, and make it feel like you're in his kitchen. So, compared to Babish, who is cooking to entertain, and is thus getting a lot of views, Al is cooking to make a connection. And I hope you can see that while cooking channels all share some characteristics, such as multiple camera angles and the chef's personality, the goals you have for your content and what you want it to accomplish really affects how you plan, film, and edit your videos. If you think about it, there's so many different ways that cooking videos could come out based on your goals. You could be cooking to experiment. You could be cooking to educate. The list goes on, and every single type of video would be different. In the end, I think there's a reason that Babish does what he does, how he does it. The fast-paced, entertainment-focused videos are always going to be more popular. I know there's at least one other really well-subscribed cooking channel in Korean that has pretty much the same editing style as Babish. But remember that just because one style or another gets more views doesn't mean that it's any less valuable. If your content does what you set it out to accomplish for the people who do see your videos, then you've achieved your goal. So I hope you can take this lesson from cooking channels and apply it to whatever kind of content you do. Think about your audience, think about how you want to impact them, what your goals for your videos are, and how you will develop your editing style because of that. And so, we come to the end of the series. I hope this series was informative and helpful for you. I had fun making it, and keep thoughtfully letting the videos around you affect how you develop your own editing style. For the last time, happy editing.